folks, thanks for joining me today. So first of all, I need to apologize for my voice. I've got a little bit of, I think there must be allergies that we're coming into that time of year. So I do apologize if I sound a little nasally. And I am going to apologize right now that this is a much longer video than I normally do, but there's a lot of great information in it and I just couldn't cut it down anymore. And if I sped it up anymore to make it shorter, then it would look like I'm the Roadrunner painting. So I decided to avoid that. But this is what we're doing. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be painting on a handmade stone that was casted from the molds from the Happy Dotting Company. And I'm using black DecoArt for my base. I use that as my primer, and I use it for probably 90, we'll say 95% of my rocks, only because it makes the colors really pop, especially if I'm doing anything that is metallic or watercolor or color shift, any of that kind of stuff. That's why I use black. Looks really good for mandalas as well. But today we're going to be painting, actually it's a viewer's choice or a viewer's recommendation. So it is a Highland Cow. I understand that these are quite popular. And I thought, what the heck, let's give it a challenge and see how I do. So I started off, like I said, with black as my base coat. I drew a circle on with my compass. And now I did on some green at the bottom, and that green is Holiday Green by Craft Smart. And then I went over with a little bit of white and made it a little bit lighter. And you'll notice that what I should have done was either done it right away or waited for my paint to dry, because it lifted some of the green paint off and you can see the black through it. But that's okay because I'm going to be painting over top of it anyway, so I wasn't too concerned. Then the top was the sky, so that I used ocean blue, and then I'm using some white, or I did put some white on, and just to make the clouds. And now I'm using some metallic watercolors. And all I did was I put a little bit of, it's like a really pale blue color. And then I dabbed it off with my paper towel because I didn't want the water to sit there and I wanted the saturation of it to be exactly what it was at that moment. So that's why I did that. Then I went over with some white metallic watercolor and I just left it. Now I'm doing some grass just to give it a little bit more of a 3D effect, or that there's depth to the painting. And I also put some of this on the grass part itself. Now make sure you let this completely dry. So while it's drying, I'm actually going around with some black paint and I'm just touching up around the circle because I will be framing this in gold. So I want to make sure that it's all tidied up and cleaned up. And when you're using your sponges, you tend to go over the lines. And that's okay because that's the beauty of metallic paint, of acrylic paint. You can go over top of it and it's all good. So now I'm going to draw on this cow. And I started with his nose or his muzzle and then came down with his legs. And then decided, you know what, his muzzle's not big enough. It's just not right in proportion. So I made it bigger. The really nice thing is I'm using my General's charcoal pencil, which is easily erasable. You can use an eraser. You can use damp cloth or paper towel. Just be mindful though, because we've got watercolor on this one, that it might be better to use an eraser. Just so you don't re-wet that metallic color and it washes off, because you really don't want that to happen. So I wanted him to have some really shaggy hair and have one eye sort of peeking out from behind his hair there, and my sketch is done. Now my sketch is just something for me to follow. It's not necessarily going to be exactly as I've drawn it out. It's just more of to give me the proportion sizes, and then I just let my creativity flow. So the color that I'm using for his hair is Maple Sugar Tan. It's by Delta. So I'm using that for his hair, and I was going to blend it, and I thought, no, I want to keep this guy sort of like a cartoony kind of look. So I didn't do any blending on this, but that doesn't mean that you can't. Um, I definitely urge you to make this whatever you want. This will be your painting, the way that you create it, and the way that your mind's eye sees it. So, totally up to you. You don't even have to use the same colors that I use. Mine are just from my stash that I have. And you can use whatever's in your stash. You don't necessarily need to use what I use. Um, so now I'm doing his body. I'm doing the front legs here, and the color I'm using here is Mocha Brown, also by Delta. By the way, if I forget to mention any of my paint colors that I use, they all will be listed in the description below. So, and any of the important links, so where to get your molds from the Happy Dotting Company. The dotting tools that I use quite often are also listed in there from the Ditting Center. You can also use my discount code for them, and it's listed in the description below. There's all sorts of really cool information. So check it out after you've watched the video. I urge you to go and visit some of the other sites that I have listed. They're all great places to get all sorts of really cool tools to help you, as well as Amazon links. If you try any of the Amazon links and they don't work, please let me know. Just put a comment in the comment section below, and I will double check that, make sure that the proper links are there. I don't check them all the time, and I do apologize for that if they do not work, but if you let me know, I will definitely go and figure out where the correct link is, because I know Amazon does change things, and maybe a supplier that I purchased it from no longer carries or isn't on Amazon anymore, and so they change it up where another supplier will carry the same product. So just let me know if you try those links and they don't work, and I'll fix that up for you. So back to the painting, you'll see now he kind of looks like one of those big long-haired, um, what are they called? Oxes, I guess, because it's just one big blob of hair. But I will be going in a little bit later with some black paint and outlining it and defining all of his wispy curls and hair and things like that. So now I'm putting on his ears. Again, I'm just using the same mocha color. I'm not changing it. I'm not putting any white in it or any black in it. I'm just using it straight out of the bottle and putting it on. And trying to, you saw me right there, I used my paintbrush to guide me from one side to the other so that I could get them relatively even. And it's a great way to do that, just to sort of let your eye follow an imaginary line that's across the this little guy's face. So now I'm putting on his nose, and I'm using Light Pink by Craft Smart. Excuse me. I find with the Craft Smart, it's great paint. However, I find that if you're painting over top of anything except for white, you need to do 2, maybe even 3 coats, because the color behind it will show through. So maybe put any of the parts that you're going to paint with the Craft Smart to use white as the background, or as a base coat, just so that the color really pops. I do 2 coats on his nose or muzzle, but I'm letting this first coat dry first. And now I'm going in and I'm doing his eye, and I'm just using white paint by DecoArt and just filling it in, and I will let that dry. And now I'm going in to do his horns. So now what I've done with the horns, it is slightly a different color because I used the mocha brown and a little tiny bit of the black just to give it a darker shade. I didn't want to pull out another paint I just wanted to use what I had in my paint tray, and this is what I got, and it was absolutely perfect. So I was able to use that, and that's the only part that I used this paint. So I didn't have to mix a lot, and I didn't have to waste any paint either. Although I don't tend to waste a lot of my paint, I do have other tutorials on how I use my leftover paints, especially with pocket hugs and what is the other ones that I showed? Love bugs, and I've got a few more tutorials geared up to show you other ways to use leftover paint and that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for those. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now and ring the bell because it'll give you a notification every time I do post something new. So you won't miss when I do post something about reusing paint or how to make the most out of what you've got. So make sure you do that. And if you like this video, make sure you give me that thumbs up because I really like to see those thumbs ups. And make sure you leave me a comment. And if you know anybody who might be interested in what I do, maybe you have a friend or maybe your sister or some relative or coworker, anybody you can think of, share my videos with them. I would love to get as many people as I can to view my videos so that I can reach as many people as I can on my tutorials. I know it's not for everybody, and some people might not like my voice, or maybe some people would rather just watch me do it. If that's the case, put me on mute, and then you can just watch it without hearing me talk. Um, but yeah, definitely do the sharing of the video, and don't forget to head on over to my Facebook page. There is a link in the description below. I post things there, craft shows that or art shows that I'm going to be at. I also post other paintings that I've done that I have not filmed. So there's all sorts of really cool information and pictures and other small videos over on my Facebook page. So make sure you go on over there and check it out. I'm also on Etsy, and I have been having some issues with posting pictures. I can post all sorts of descriptions and things like that, but I'm having trouble getting my pictures posted. So that's why there hasn't been anything new posted in a little while. But I am working on that, and hopefully in the next week or two, I will have these ones that I have just finished, plus some others loaded up into Etsy. So please make sure you go over and check it out because there's lots of great stuff that I'm going to be posting over there. So, and then if you're interested in obtaining one of these little mini wheels that I use, I do have them in my surprise box. So if you order my surprise box, you're guaranteed to get one of these, plus a whole bunch of other really fun things that I don't want to tell you about because it's a surprise box. So if I told you, it would ruin that surprise. So I don't want to do that. So it's up to you if you want to take that chance or not. But they are listed in my Etsy shop as well. So I've been doing a lot of touch up, and I've been extending his hair and making it look almost California like. I thought it was really cool, the creativity that you can get with these things. Like I searched on, I believe it was Google that I did my search on for images, and there's so many. It was a bit hard for me to choose, but I ended up picking this guy, and it doesn't even look like the image that I found. I just used it as sort of like inspiration and as a guide to uh, maybe make the proportions correct. But after that, I go, I let my creativity take over, and this is what I end up with. And I just love how things transpire. And there's also been a few times in other paintings where I've almost given up and got frustrated or it didn't look right. But you know what? I trusted the process. And as I worked through it, the more and more it came to light. And I'm very, very pleased that I didn't quit and start all over. And I just persevered and kept going with the process. And next thing you know, at the end of it, there was this beautiful painting. So I urge you to keep going. Don't stop. If you find that something isn't going right, walk away from it. After all, this is acrylic paint. Once it dries, you can paint over top of it. But just walk away. Like maybe you need a break, maybe you need to refocus, and then go back to it. Maybe sit and look at it for a little bit. And all of a sudden, that inspiration will hit you, and you're going to start painting. And next thing you know, that you're going to end up with a beautiful product. So I urge you to continue on and not to give up, and just trust the process. I'm an advocate for that because everything I do, I sometimes think, oh my gosh, this is not going to work right. But I just keep going and it always works out. So just be mindful of that. So I wanted to give this guy a really nice blue eye. So it's actually the same blue that is the sky. And I do some accents on it as well. So now I'm getting into doing the outlining. And this took me the longest out of the entire video or the entire painting was to get the outlining done because there was so much. So I tried to make it as minimal as possible, but enough that you could see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just doing like little wisps of where his hair would be. I'm not joining the lines at all. And I'm just sort of letting the paintbrush flow and go and follow those wisps of his hair and just adding maybe a little bit more in between just to give it like that there's extra strands there. And it turned out really cool. I was really, really impressed. Let me know what you think of it too. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. But yeah, he was so much fun to paint. And I really like how his little eye is peeking out from behind his hair. He really does look like a California Highland cow. If that's such a thing, I don't know. But he really does. And so I'm just outlining all of his hair, his little wisps there. And don't be afraid that if your black paint goes too thick, that's okay because you can let it dry and go back in with the tan color or whatever color you used for his hair, and you can thin that black line out. And I do that in a few places on his hair there. I believe I also do it on his eye. But don't be afraid if it's gone too thick on you. I have that happen to me as well. So don't fret about it. It's going to work out. So basically, just when that happens, it means that your paintbrush just needs a quick little wipe or maybe a little swish in the water jar just to get that excess paint off, because as acrylic paint is being used, it gets sort of built up at the end by the brush or by the handle part or the metal part, and then it kind of clumps up because it's drying. So it needs to be cleaned out every once in a while. So it's just really quick and easy. Just have a paper towel handy so you can, dab it off, and then the paint starts flowing again really easy. So just be mindful of that. If that starts to happen, that's why. So now I'm separating his legs, so it kind of gives you the appearance that he's got two legs and not just one big hairy chest. But and I'm putting like little feathers over his hooves and just sort of giving him some hair wisps here and there. And I try to do a little bit on his chest here, just to give that that look that it's separated. So he's got two legs there. Then I do his armpit, I guess. It's the easiest way for me to describe it. I'm really sorry. I'm not very technical on this stuff, but that's his armpit there. So I needed to give him some hair on there. Then I'm just outlining his ears. And again, like I said, if your paint the black for the outlining is too thick, you can wait for it to dry, go back in with your original color, and then you can really thin that out and make it to the way that you want it. But this guy was so much fun to paint, and I actually want to do more. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of the Highland cows. Maybe I'll do a quick series on them, and maybe not make them as long of a video, and maybe make them a little less detailed. I don't know. I'll probably figure something out. I just love doing this stuff for you guys, and I'm so happy that you can join me and you can watch these videos in time that when I make them, when I post them. I mean, I do it for you. So I get so happy when I get comments or when I get the thumbs up. You know, it's really awesome. So I want to thank everybody right now for keeping me going and giving me those comments, leaving those thumbs up, really making me feel like what I'm doing is something that people want and it's something good. So thank you for encouraging me just by giving me a thumbs up. Like truly, I'm very humbled with how many people enjoy my artwork, and I just love doing this. I look forward to posting my next painting that I've done. So anyways, I'm going to stop with the mushiness now. So here I am. I've done a lot of the outlining now, and I painted in the pupil of his eye, and now I'm just giving him an eyelid. And I think this is it's an important step. Like if I had have just left it, it may not have looked as good, but because I've painted it the same color, it really makes your eye flow from the horns down to the ears, across the face, and then up to the other side. So I really think that that was important that I did that. So now I'm just putting on a little white bloop for his eye, and I'm doing a little bit of white accents on the top of his nose. Now you can't really see them on camera, but it looked really good after I resined. Then putting a little bit of highlights on his hooves as well, and on his other hoof. And then I do an outline in gold, so I frame it with gold. I also did one more step that I did not film, and I do apologize for that. I thought I was filming, but I was not. So on the pictures at the end of the video, you will see what I did as a finished, it's like a scalloped edge, or like maybe a half circle with a point at the end. I don't know what the official name is of them. If you know, or if you have a better description word for it, let me know. They will be in the video, or in the photos at the end. So I'd be really interested to know what you would like to call them or what you think they are. But anyways, so I do that. I let it dry for 24 hours, and then I resin it and let it sit for another 24 hours. And then I can handle it, and I put a little felt on the bottom, and that way it protects any furniture or anything like that, so there's no scratches. But that's it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and remember, life is what you make it, so get creative.